7, Yoko.
We've been there. We've played these games before. Be it an action game, RPG, fighting game, shooter, one problem arises at some point in your playthrough. I have to get good. Now, if only it were so easy, right? And no, using cheats doesn't count. But using cheats in a single-player game is totally okay. I mean, enjoy the game the way you want to. Multiplayer is obviously, well, a bannable offense, so don't use your cheats there, obviously. A number of you have told me or mentioned that I am good at just about every game I touch. While that statement flatters me, I do think there's more to being good at a game than doing good at a game. What most of you probably do not see is my learning process. Now, if you look at any world record of any speedrun, a very important question commonly goes under everyone's radar, including yours. How many attempts or runs did that actually take? Realistically, depending on the game and what luck versus skill balance there is, it can take hundreds, if not thousands, of attempts of near flawless runs. And in those runs, there's heaps of knowledge, skill, practice, adaptation involved. And all this is not even something, in my opinion, that can be taught. It can only be learned by you, Foxtrot, you who holds the controller or mouse and keyboard, depending on your setup. You are the ones pressing the button, watching a guide on how to clear a game in the hardest difficulty, and mimicking their moves, strategies every step of the way. It is feasible, but it's not necessarily consistent or reliable in the long run. This is where learning how to learn a game's mechanics can come into play. Sometimes behind the execution of the technique, learning every step of a technique in a game is what you actually need to know for it to make sense to you and for you to be able to execute such a high skill move. Even if the game tells you, do this fast, and you're trying to do it as fast as humanly possible and you still don't do it, something has to change. Something is wrong. And I guess in this case, it's not speed. So what is it? Most of the time, people don't even ask that question. They try to brute force it until it works. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can do better. Let's take Malenia's waterfowl dance from Elden Ring, for example. There's plenty of ways to deal with it. If you have high enough stamina and a good block build, you can block the entire thing. If you have crafted ice jars, you can yeet it at her and make her fall to the ground, canceling her waterfowl dance completely. If you have mastered dodging, you can dodge and use Bloodhound Step to dodge all, if not most of the attack. You can also use a hard-hitting summon like Mimic Tear because Malenia is a light boss, meaning she staggers easily to heavy attacks. All these possible solutions, but most of the time, the person trying never wonders, why does this work? Let's break down each possible technique here. Now, blocking drains stamina, depending on how hard the attack is. Thankfully, Malenia's waterfowl dance counts as light attacks, meaning they do not stagger you hard, even on hit. But because it hits multiple times that can make Cloud's Omni/Blush, you need enough stamina to block all of those hits. Enemies, even bosses, are weak to specific elements and even debilitations, be it fire, ice, sleep, poison, bleed, etc. Malenia, being the queen of the rot, obviously is very resistant to scarlet rot and poison. But fire, bleed, and frostbite is a completely different story. These are elements that work particularly well against her. The frost jar in particular does really well. While the damage output of the jar is not the best, that is not what we are after. We are after the fact that against Malenia and any enemy weak to frostbite, it applies so much status damage that just one jar will immediately give your target, and in this case Malenia, frostbite, which makes her flinch in the air and fall to the ground, canceling the attack. As for dodging, while this costs no crafting materials or build investment, so you don't have to level up and grind levels to get a block build, it is insanely difficult to do. But it becomes easier when you study her attack. And that's the hard part. Doing so many attempts and actually learning on each attempt. But it gets easier the more you do it. Her attack consistently chases you, but it has gaps. So by baiting the attack and dodging in a specific way and direction, you can literally go through her attacks unscathed without even using Bloodhound Step. But of course, having Bloodhound Step is a very good way to make dodging a lot easier against Malenia in particular. Now, jump attacks and heavy attacks work so well against Malenia because she is considered a light enemy, meaning heavy attacks and jump attacks can interrupt her and stagger her. This is why summons in particular work really well against Malenia compared to someone like Radahn. This is one example of quote-unquote Git Good against a difficult boss, and this example can really enlighten you on how to get better without banging your head against the wall, if it's not your controller that you're banging against the wall, with multiple attempts of trying to get that perfect run, when all you actually needed was a good understanding of the encounter. It's not about getting that perfect run. It's really all about getting a better understanding. This mentality is applicable to any game, and honestly, any challenge or task that you have to do, even outside of video games. And for most things that I try to learn or do, I always use a technique I've applied to just about any challenge or task. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Now, what the hell does that mean, you might ask? Let's use another high execution move as an example. Let's say you're trying to do a Sideswitch-DP in Street Fighter 6. The simplified version is to hold forward, and when your character corrects their face direction, you do a Hadouken motion. Now, you should know at this point that forward plus Hadouken is 6-2-3-6. And the game reads that as a Shoryuken motion because 6-2-3 is right there. That essentially makes your forward Hadouken motion a DP motion. If you have this mentality of, I have to do this fast before they land, which in hindsight, yes, that is correct. You have to do it fast. You may end up with a few things. One, you end up fumbling your inputs because your motion was done while your character was correcting their direction. So now your forward Hadouken motion is read now as 6-2-1, which is essentially a forward quarter circle back or reverse Hadouken or Tatsu motion instead. You may also end up doing a normal attack because you didn't keep your input on the motion input, or your finger on forward or back depending on the move. This applies to many specials, to be honest, not just this particular technique. If a normal air kick or strike or attack comes out instead of your dive kick, for example, it may not be because your TK motion was too slow or too fast or it wasn't clean, but because you did not hold the last motion input plus the attack button. So you didn't hold back or forward or whatever motion's required. So, instead again of doing it fast, especially if you are still learning a Sideswitch-DP, do it slow. Check your motion inputs on screen. It must read forward plus Hadouken motion. Yes, that means that in the lab, you will probably be late, that they will land and block. But that is okay. The goal here is to do the move consistently. It won't do you any good pressuring yourself to do a Sideswitch-DP if you can't even do a DP in this scenario properly. That is why we want to do it consistently. Yes, they may block it by the time they land, but the first step is landing that move in the first place. Actually executing a Sideswitch-DP. Don't even worry about was it too slow. That they blocked it by the time they landed. Try to do it in the first place. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So, once you get that motion done, once you are consistently able to get a Sideswitch-DP, that is when you start to do it quicker. Because you can do it so consistently, your muscle memory probably does the speed up for you. You don't even have to think about, yeah, I have to do forward, and then once my character turns around, I do a Hadouken motion. If you got that so consistently, you don't even have to think of doing it. Your muscle memory does it for you. That when you speed up, the smoothness, the consistency of that move does not get compromised by speeding up. Because that is usually what happens with any input in any video game. Doing something slowly is very consistent. Doing something fast is very inconsistent, which is, in hindsight, true. However, it doesn't mean we cannot make something fast consistent. We can. However, we got to get the consistent thing first, which is why, like again, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Do something slowly to the point that you can do it. Do it consistently to the point that it is smooth. And then do it smoothly to the point that you can do it fast. Those are essentially the 3 steps. Do it consistently, then do it quickly. You literally cannot skip any of these steps. You cannot just do it once and then do it fast. You have to learn how to do it consistently, and then you can do it fast. Because this is where the argument and the general mentality of slow is consistent, fast is inconsistent. That is not wrong, but it doesn't mean we cannot make it work. This is how we make it work. We do it slow. Like, give yourself like, okay, I want to do this like 5 times in a row. Slowly. And then you increase that. Okay, we'll still do it slowly, but let's do it 10 times in a row. Once you do that, now you start to speed it up. And you'll eventually reach that point to when they jump, and before they land, you get that Sideswitch-DP you've been working hard to do. Now, to put a bow on this, when learning a new game or trying to execute something in a game that you are really pushing yourself to be better at, try to apply my general all-purpose game learning technique. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this technique helps you get better with games that you are trying to get better at or are struggling with. And again, completely normal. It's completely normal to struggle at any game that you're playing. It's kind of part of the charm of a game, really. The challenge and the motivation to, to overcome said challenge. I believe in you. Let me know in the comment section your thoughts on the video and advice that I have shared with you. I really hope it helps. And perhaps you might even want to suggest what you would like me to teach you, game related of course, and I will do my best. Thank you and have a good day.